wake up expecting the day to be totally normal, only for pure chaos to come barreling straight through your front yard. Because that's exactly how my morning unraveled. Out of nowhere, a violent crash shook the ground outside my house. So sharp and sudden it felt like my heart skipped a beat. I bolted outside, expecting maybe a fallen tree or some random noise. But I froze on the spot. My wooden fence, the same one that had stood solid for 15 long years, lay obliterated across my gravel, shattered into splinters like a wrecking ball had swung through. And right in the middle of the destruction sat a dented silver car, its bumper wedged deep into what used to be my fence post. The driver's door flew open, and stumbling out came none other than Karen's teenage son, Brad. Now, Karen already had a legendary reputation in our neighborhood for her unmatched entitlement. Always complaining. Always acting like the universe owed her something. And Brad? Let's just say he was her mirror image. Are you kidding me? I yelled, my eyes bouncing between the ruined fence and the fresh skid marks gouged into my lawn. Brad raked a hand through his messy hair, looking irritated rather than guilty. Dude, chill. It's not that bad. Not that bad? I snapped. You literally drove through my fence. Before I could even wrap my head around the damage, a familiar screech of a voice sliced through the air. Karen herself came charging down the street, arms folded, face burning red, ready to wage war. What did you do to my son? She barked, glaring at me as if I had driven into my own fence. I stared at her, baffled. I'm sorry. What? He just destroyed my property. But logic never stood a chance with Karen. Your fence was too close to the road, she said, jabbing a finger at the broken wood. If you hadn't built it there, my son wouldn't have crashed. This is your fault. I nearly laughed. Too close to the road? This fence had been in the same spot for 15 years. Well within the property line. But before I could correct her, she was already whipping out her phone and dialing the police, insisting they come immediately. Good, I muttered. Let's hear their opinion. While we waited, Brad leaned against the crumpled car hood, texting like the whole thing was nothing but an inconvenience. Karen paced back and forth, rehearsing her outrage. And me? I just stood there, staring at the destruction and trying to process how someone could be that delusional. The flashing lights eventually pulled up, and Karen sprinted toward the officers, pointing at me like I was a fugitive. And that's when the real circus began. The two officers stepped out, surveying the scene with calm, expert eyes, one looking at the smashed-up car stuck in my yard, the other at the scattered fence pieces. Before they even spoke, Karen jumped in. Officers, thank goodness you're here, she wailed dramatically, gripping Brad by the arm. This man is responsible for my son's accident. His fence is practically a trap. It should never have been built there. My son could have died. A trap? I nearly choked on air. It's a fence on my property, I said, and it's been there for more than a decade without a single issue. The officers exchanged a look, unimpressed. Officer Daniels stepped toward the long skid marks carved across my grass. Ma'am, he said, it looks like your son lost control of the vehicle long before hitting the fence. Can you explain what happened? Brad finally looked up from his phone. I was just driving, and the fence came out of nowhere. Seriously, who builds a fence there? Karen nodded wildly. Exactly. He needs to take responsibility for the damage to my son's car. I couldn't help it, I laughed. So let me get this straight. Your son plows through my fence, and I'm supposed to pay for his car? Officer Daniels raised a hand, cutting the tension. Let's calm down. Ma'am, the property lines are clear. This fence is well within his yard. There's nothing illegal about it being here. Karen's jaw hung open. So you're taking his side now? Her voice was loud enough to bring neighbors onto porches and sidewalks. Everyone knew Karen, and word spread fast. Officer Ramirez wrote notes on his pad. Your son's vehicle is not drivable. We'll need to tow it. And we'll need your insurance information to file the claim for the property damage. Karen whipped toward him. Tow it? Absolutely not. He needs that car. Ma'am, he said firmly, it's a hazard. It's going to the impound lot. For the first time, Brad looked genuinely horrified. Wait, what? No. Mom, do something. Karen spun around, flustered. This man purposely put the fence there to cause accidents. I've told the HOA it's dangerous. Check the records. From across the street, old Mrs. Jensen shouted. That fence has been there longer than your son's been driving. The neighbors murmured in agreement. Some were even enjoying the show. Officer Ramirez finally snapped. Ma'am, unless you want to be cited for obstruction, step aside and let the tow truck do its job. Karen gasped as if he threatened to arrest her on the spot. Obstruction? I'm the victim. But the tow truck was already pulling up, rumbling toward the wreck. Brad sprinted toward his car, grabbing the hood like he thought he could physically stop it from being taken. No! You can't tow it! It's my car! The tow driver climbed out, unimpressed. Kid, either move or I move you. The car's coming with me. The crowd snickered. Karen's panic spiraled. You'll regret this, she yelled at me. All of you. I'll sue this whole street. The tow driver just shook his head. Lady, you can't sue gravity. Your kid just can't drive. The neighbors erupted in laughter. Even I couldn't help but smirk. Officer Ramirez handed me a slip of paper. Give this to your insurance company. Their policy will cover the fence repairs. Finally, something in my favor. Karen stood trembling, caught between fury and humiliation. Brad sulked beside her as his precious car was lifted and hauled away down the street, wheels dangling helplessly. The sound of that tow truck leaving? Music. Officer Daniels gave me a reassuring nod. You did nothing wrong. If she causes more trouble, call us. I definitely will, I said. When the crowd eventually dispersed and quiet returned, I stared at the mangled fence and the tire tracks torn into my yard. It would take work to fix, sure, but watching Karen's meltdown and seeing that car dragged away almost made the chaos worth it. So tell me, was Karen completely out of line? Or did justice finally win for once? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more unbelievable neighborhood stories.